Hello and welcome to ET105's lab. Today we are planning on going through Ortho lab number 4, which you may be happy to know that this is the last of the orthographic shapes drawings that we will be doing in this class. We will be drawing other objects in front right top views, but they won't be like in this case where we have 5 or 6 or 8 different objects. It'll just be a single one or possibly 2 objects here. But before we get into the Ortho Lab 4, I would like to spend about probably 15 to 20 minutes on reviewing Lab 3, Ortho 3. And so if you are watching this and you kind of breezed through Lab 3, you got it, you felt comfortable with the way it was to be done, you can just skip ahead until I show the Lab number 4 sheet on the screen there. You'll see the white sheet on the screen if you skim through the drawing. So what I have here is a set of the drawings, and I drew all of them for the Orthographic Lab 3. The requirement was only to draw a specific set. I think there were 8 of them here, and so I'm going to zoom in on some of the drawings here. You can see on this number 13, 14, and notice oh, I did, looks like, yeah, that's right, I did include the imaginary corner lines as were required on the instructions for these labs. So make sure that as you do your drawings that they do have these labs. One of the more difficult drawings, at least in my opinion, is this number 20 listed here. 20 shows an object that's got all kinds of angles and sides to it, and so I just wanted to make sure you had a chance to look at that up close. And so let me go ahead and start and explain a couple of these drawings, how to do them step by step. Before I do though, I wanted to talk a little bit about the zoom extents button. That is a command that's used to identify everything that you've drawn so far. So let's say you're drawing here. I'm just going to give you a quick little sketch here and draw another line out here. We'll draw another line here, and a set of lines. Here's a triangle. And so if I'm working inside of here, let's say I'm drawing something in detail here, and doesn't really matter what it is, but I'm working on here, but I want to print everything that I've drawn so far. You know, you could back out. I'm rolling with the mouse roller key on the mouse, rolling back and forth, and then fitting everything in here. Typically what you can see on this screen is what will print as you go to print out a particular drawing there. But also another way to quickly identify everything on your screen is, let's say you're working in here detail and you're done and you want to show everything that's on your screen. You can go to this X on here, the zoom extents command, and this is a bar that can be brought up or removed from your screen. But the zoom extents command is the one that looks like an X. And when you click on that, it will back up or move in to everything that you've drawn so that it fits on the screen for printing. So you see that I've printed it. It shows all of the commands. I have my lettering in really big letters today. But it shows everything here, and as I print, it will show everything that's on the black screen on the sheet of paper. Now I'll do a print preview here just to show what the screen is going to look like. As you can see, this is what the sheet of paper will look like, and the 2 objects there are listed there, all because I pushed the zoom extents. So I'm going to pull out of that, but I will go ahead and start with number 16 here. Now notice it is same as before. It's a 4 unit high and then a 6 unit wide. So your front section is going to look kind of like a U, but it's going to have this flat surface, or excuse me, this slanted flat plane there. So let me set that up and move it over and offset 4, and I'll select this and go 4 up. Now left to right here is 6, so I'm just going to click on it while I'm still in the offset command, and it remembers I'm at 4. So notice the 4 is highlighted in blue. I'm going to change that to 6, push enter, and I have my front section. That's the front area there. Now it's time to sort of carve out what needs to be done. I'll start with the sides. Notice each side is 1 unit wide, 1 unit wide. So I'm going to offset 1 unit and go in and go in. Now that gives me that section, and also there's 1 unit up from the bottom. So I'm still in offset command. I can go 1 up. Now I have sort of etched out that lower section, that flat front surface. Next step is to somehow etch out this angled flat surface. So as we mentioned before, if you're looking at a flat surface that is angled and it's sort of pointing at you, it will just look like either a square or a rectangle, depending on the shape of it. In this case, you know that this flat surface is 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 4 units wide, because the other 5th and the 6th are in these outer sections. And then it goes up how much? Well, if this is 1 in the front, and that is 1 down, I don't know if you could see that, it's 1 down from the top there. That means that it rises up 2, 3, 4. Oh, excuse me, that the height is 4. So it would be 1 and then 2. So this goes from this point here, it rises up 2 units. 2 units from that point. As it slants up, it goes up 2 units in height. So what that means is, I'm going to go into the offset command. If I offset 2 from this here line, that one right there, because that's what we were looking at here. So offset that 2 up, click on it and go up 2. That tells me what this section looks like. And I will go ahead and hatch it. Escape out and hatch, just to show you what this looks like by doing this, hatching out. So what I've shaded in here is the front flat surface. Okay, that's that. And then I'm going to erase that, take out the hatch. Now I'm going to hatch in this flat surface that's slanted, which is right there. Okay. So let's move on now. You take out the hatches. We'll come back and clean that up. So the next is to work on the top and the right. I'm going to work with the top first, and I do need a spacer, so I'm going to offset. This time I'll put 2 in there. Offset 2 from my front and my top view. There and there. So I've done that for the right side and the top. Now this section here will show what's at the top view. Remember again, select this line so you can see that clearly. That line there, that's listed in blue, is the imaginary line that would run across this front point, right? This front point. And before I get any farther, let me go ahead and put in the imaginary corner, because that's what it asks for. And I'll do it right from that tip, which would be line and right there. My ortho is on, so it's messing it up, not making it so it won't go at an angle. So I'm going to turn the ortho off. And remember how if I tab over, push tab, while I'm in the middle of the line, I haven't clicked down the line, but I can change this to the degrees and then type in 45. And remember also that the imaginary corner line, the 45 line, doesn't have to be, that doesn't matter what length it is, as long as it's somewhat long enough to see, to identify. Okay, so back to this section here. We know that from here to the upper section is the distance from here to there. And that is how many? It's 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's go ahead and offset 4. Offset 4. And go up. All right. Now I have a listed section here. I'm going to get out of that command. So if I were to hatch in this and this point there, those 2 lines that are hatched in, those 2 dashes, are the top sections of what's here. Okay. Now, taking out those 2, this middle square, as you see it from this angle, it's actually this angle. It's a slanted flat plane right there. And is there anything that needs to be done here to complete that view? The answer is no. No, because you assume that these are straight up and down, straight up and down. This one slants, and it looks like that square there. Okay, so let's move to the right side. right side. I've already put my spacer bar there, the spacer line between the front view. I'll escape that out. So here I want to draw this section here. I want to show what's on that square. Now it's a pretty plain square, but it's 1, 2, 3, 4 across and 4 tall. Now I already have my line here, which if you look at these 3 lines that I drew from this front view, that gives me my 4 tall and then these 2 lines. So all I need is to put another 4th line here to complete this square, and that's this line on the drawing, which is 4 from the left side. So again, offset 4 and go from here to there. Okay, so now it's time to clean up. I will do the trim, TR, or you can click it up there and then right click. Remember, trim and then right click out here somewhere. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm still in the offset command. Okay, so out of the offset command, now let's go TR, trim, push enter, or I could go into here and click on trim. Now while I'm in the trim command, I'm just going to right click, and now anything that I touch starts to get erased. And if you get practiced with trimming, you realize you can trim more than one line at a time. I can click and then drag, enter, and then click and drag, enter, drag, enter, and or you can go to the normal clicking, one by one. If you get practiced after a while, you become comfortable more with that. In this front view, there are a few of these interior lines that need to be trimmed out. So I'm going to show how that would be done. There, there, there. Okay, you see how that front view shows the slanted area and the U area. The right side, notice there are no lines here, so I will need to erase those. Looks like it won't let me trim it, so I'm going to erase, push E. Again, type in E for erase, and you can highlight more than one line. Push enter when you're done. It erases that. Of course, these lines here I'm highlighting, and then I'm going to delete, push the delete button, and that takes it away. So what I have here is a top, front, right side for number 16. Some students will point this out, that if you were looking from the right side here, you should have some kind of line to reference what's back here, this area here. And it would look like, something like, just kind of quickly draw it in. It should look something like this. Maybe like that. Okay. And I'm just drawing it in. But it's not something you'd see on the surface, because you can't see it on the surface. It would be inside. So maybe if there were a way that we could label that to show that, hey, it's not something you see right off, but it's inside, it's deeper in the object, that would be called a hidden line. And we'll get into that in a future lab. But for the sake of right now, we won't worry about that. I'm just going to erase that. This is plenty good. This gives you full credit for drawing that number 16. So I'm going to zoom out, and I'm going to start with another one. Let's pick another drawing here. Usually I let the class decide, or help me decide, which ones to draw. And so I'm going to draw number 19. 19 that is definitely one of the items that need to be drawn. So number 19 here, it looks kind of like one of those old style televisions. The back side of one, this one has sort of an accentuated back side. But it looks like a television, so I'm just going to call it a television, old style television. And we are drawing a front here, top, and a right side. Well, before anything else, it's probably really helpful to draw the box view, like the imaginary box around it. So I'm going to quickly jump over to be able to do that. Okay, so I've got this 19 set up here so that I can sort of spray paint some color on here. And again, if I were drawing a box around this object, it would look something like this. I'll have to excuse my not so straight lines. So this should help us to be able to identify what's the front the top and the right. So now I'm going to take a minute, move this over to the right side so you can see both this drawing with and without the box on it. What I have here is a drawing of the two drawings, same thing, but one of them has my beautiful orange colored box around it and the other doesn't. So this is, you can jump back and forth and look at these two. Now let's go ahead and draw a line going 20 here and 20 here. Got that there. I'm going to highlight it and move it just over a little bit this way. And start my drawing here. So first of all, we're doing a front view, and I'll tell you what, let's keep it simple. First, let's do the box, the full rectangular front face of it. Again, as usual, 6 across, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 4 high, 1, 2, 3, 4. If I were to take this and just offset 4 high, push enter, 4 up, and then offset this one and go 6, change that to 6, and I have this focused in section here. Next, let's take out this one little line here. It's 1 across, and we know it's the full 4 high. So I'm going to offset 1 over here. That takes care of this. And here we get to the tricky part. So this line here, this one down below, notice how it starts at the bottom of the 4 units high. But where it ends, if you look at this upper section, you realize that it is ending also at the bottom. So even though it looks angled in this drawing, and here, it is actually flat as it runs along this base. And that's a part of what it takes to get used to with your brain and understanding how these orthographic projections look as you do fronts, rights, and tops. So that one is flat. But this other one up top, this top corner here, it starts at the top, the 4 units high, and then where does it end? You see that better with this orange box drawing. It ends, and I apologize for my poor drawing here, but it ends 2 units down, 1, 2, or 2 units up. That's right where it ends. So it starts at the top left of the corner of the drawing, which would be here, right there, and then it ends where it's 2 down. In other words, I have to draw a reference line or offset. It ends 2 down from the top. So I'm going to offset 2 from the top. And it starts, I'm drawing a line now. It starts up here, and my ortho's on, so I'm going to turn it off here just to make it easier. It ends right there. So I'm going to escape out. Being able to draw this line, that's kind of the key of understanding how this front view works. It starts at the top left, or the top section there, and it goes down. You don't have to know the degrees. In this case, you can see it's 22, because I'm just putting my cursor right on it after it's highlighted. But you do just need to know that it ends at 2 units down or 2 units up. Okay, so I have everything here for my front view. So let's go with the top view. This time I'm going to offset. I'm going to put a spacer of 1 spacer, 1 there. And then I'm going to start with my top view. Now with the top view, again you have, let's go with this one here, you have a sort of a rectangle that's 1 unit wide and 4 long. So you know that this 1 unit wide is already drawn in because we used reference lines, which is the key of why we want you to practice using reference lines. So because we drew it in for this front view, we have it for the top. Now let's figure out from here, if we know, let me highlight that, if we know that from that line here, which is in blue, is 4 to run to the top, then we can just highlight this, push offset, and go 4 units, and then put that in up there. We'll put it right there. So we have our upper section, that rectangle area. I'll go ahead and hatch that one in right there. That hatched in area is this top view flat plane. Okay, I'll take that out, highlight it and delete it. Now we need to figure out how to draw this angled slant part. And again, let's look at the top. It will take some study of this drawing based on a box around it, or at least our view of the box. Let's specifically go to the end here. Notice that even though this line is slanted, that section there, that's on the back side, right? That's, in other words, that starts out up. It'll probably just best to draw a line. It starts from this point. I've drawn, starting a line. See where my middle point is right there? That point, and I'm going to escape out, that is right here. So that is going to come down. Now it looks like it's angling, but, get back here, but notice that it ends along the same plane, and I'm going to click back up here, there. It ends along the same plane as the back side. And what that means, and again, this is a part of what you need to practice and get in your brain about how orthographic projections go. But if it starts on the back edge and then ends on the back edge, it becomes, it is shown as a straight line. In other words, this reference line, there's nothing more to draw because it's already there. So that becomes the back side of this object here, right there, or this one here. So now let's move to the this section here, which is the bottom part here. Where does that go? Well, it starts at this sort of bottom corner, which if I were to draw a line starting from there, it would be here, right there. See where that is listed? And then it should end up somewhere either straight or at an angle in that direction. We don't know where it ends just yet, but we do know this, that looking at this view here and here too, with the block, the box around it, if I were to count 1, 2, 3 out of the 4, this is 4 across. If I go 1, 2, 3, that's where this thing ends, this line ends. So in other words, 1, 2, 3. So take that, draw a line. Well, if we were to put a reference point, excuse me, reference point, and do it 3 across, 3 there, and then go from this point there. That gives us the intersection point where this line should go. And that's 1, 2, there. That's right. I'll escape out. Okay, so it may not look quite right there, but what that becomes, and just for the sake of being able to see this more clearly, I'm going to hatch this in. There, 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 there. Okay, so that is the visual of how that's shown. Now, if you're still not quite getting it, let me start trimming away these sections that should be gone. Right there. And I'm not going to do the whole thing because I still need to do the right side. But as I take these out, you can see I'm going to do this whole block in one. You can see that this starts at the top, goes up to the 2 unit down or halfway mark, which is what it does here. It starts at the top, goes to the halfway mark. But from the top view, starts from the base, which is right there, or here. And it goes in 3 units. It goes in 3, 1, 2, 3, and it meets back up. Let me get my other drawings in place. Meets back up right here, right that point. So that point is right here from the top. Okay, so I've partially cleaned this up. I want to make sure you can follow along with this. Now let's finish the right side, and I'm going to use this reference line and this reference line to finish it out. So the right side here, it's going to be within this square here, or what's shown here. And it will have this small little 1 by 2 square that should show up somewhere over here in the corner. First, let's get the dimensions of the outer perimeter of the square. You know that this is 4 wide, 4 high. And here I have the 1 line. So let's offset 4. Offset 4. Go over here. And I don't have to do this offset because it's already there, so I'm going to escape out. So I have my dimensions, or my perimeter, excuse me. Now I need to carve out this little rectangle here. It's one wide, two tall, two high, and it starts at the very bottom right corner, so it starts here. So what I need to do is just offset one wide, so put one this way. Then I'm going to offset two up, click the same. I haven't taken the offset command off. I'm still in the offset, but it says it's one. I want to change it to two. So I have that square. Let me hatch this in just so you can see. That highlighted rectangle is this rectangle here, or the rectangle which is partially covered here. Okay, so within that, we're just about done. There's one or two lines left, and then some cleanup to do. And that is, remember this line here? Although it's at an angle, it looks like it's angled. When you look at these others, it's actually on the base. So it's here. This line is here. It's flat. You don't need to draw anything there. But this other one here, well, and this other one here, it also runs along the back side, the upper wall here. You can see that shown here. That means that this side here, this line right here, am I saying that? Oh, excuse me, not that line. This line here is straight. It's a straight line. It's not angled in any way. And here's the big trick with the right side of this drawing. This one here, which starts at the top left corner of that little rectangle, which is here. That's right there. It goes there and it connects with the top left of this square view. Again, imagine a camera facing this way, pointing into that X. So what that requires, you already have the marker reference line here, the intersection point. You just draw a line, type in line, then you go from here to there. And from this point here, if you can't see it yet, I'll help you through the cleanup. I'm going to take out that hatch. Now it just requires some trimming out, TR for trim. Let's trim out all unnecessary lines. Oops, I forgot to right click. TR and enter, and then we'll come over here and right click. Now as I click on these, I can take out sections that are not needed, not a part of the drawing. Take out this whole block there, and then of course all of this goes out. Getting out of trim, I'm going to highlight this whole area and push delete. Oh, and one thing I did forget, this is complete, but I did forget to draw the 45-degree line like what I have in this other drawing here. So let me come back and show you how to quickly do that. Basically get a line, go into the line command, and draw something extending here. My ortho is on, so they're going to be perfectly straight lines. Draw another line straight here. Oh, my ortho is not on, but I can make it so that it goes exact, or I'll just turn it on. There. And then from that point, draw a third line. Here I have this intersection point. I'm going to turn my ortho off. Tab over, remember tab. Change it to 45 degrees. Enter. And now I just have a little bit of cleanup. I'm going to highlight these two and just delete it. That is number 19. All right, so at this point we've had a heavy review of Lab 3, Ortho Lab 3, which I felt was important. And then it's time to go into Lab 4. And Lab 4, as you can see these shapes here, you have the rounded edges, wide rounds. You've got some circles, which in this case, number 42 here, you would assume that the circles mean that they are holes in the objects. And then you have some smaller rounded edges, like here in 45 or 44 as well. You got the front end, or excuse me, from the right side view, and then from the top section, 43 also. So you have large rounded ends and really small rounded ends. Other things to point out, for instance, in number 40, you have triangular shapes that are not just slanted, but slanted horizontally in two different ways. Um, Also, 39 is slanted there. So let's go ahead and set this up so we can do a couple of drawings. Before I do, I need to explain how to draw some of these small rounded circles, rounded edges. And so I'll jump over and do that right now. Let me switch around my chairs. Okay. Now what we have here is drawing number 39 on the right side here from the sheet that's on Orthographic Lab 4. This here is the same drawing, but I've gone ahead and used a crayon type of pen to draw a box around the object so that you can see where it is within the box and where it is not. There's no material or portion of that of the surfaces and the substance of the box. So on my left here I have the screen. Now remember, if you're going to draw several drawings, you can go ahead and highlight this and use the copy button, and it's hidden in here, but I'm going to pull it down and just use the copy here. Push the copy button and then specify a base point. So I want to make several copies of this set of X and Y axis lines. So I'm setting a base point here, and now I can make copies. I'm going to turn my ortho off. 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so escape out. So now I have 6 axis point lines where I can start from. So looking at this object here, you know, it probably is best to take one side of it, in this case the front. You see the front here, and just start by drawing what you're pretty sure is there. So I'm going to take this area here. You notice it's 1 high, and in this case you can see this upper section. It's 1 high, and it's 2 from left to right. So 2 left to right, 1 high here. On the other side, it goes up 1, 2, 3, 4. So it goes up 4, and it goes 2 to the right. Now, of course, the full object is about 6 wide. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 4 tall. So I'll start with that. I'm going to do a line. Oh, excuse me, not a line. I'm going to do an offset. Offset. I'm going to offset 4 high for the height of that, and then 6. Change that to 6 over, and that's the front face. Now within it, as I mentioned, it's 2 wide. So I'm going to offset from here. Go click on here and go 2 wide, and then I've done this section here. I'm going to go 1 high, 1 high. Change that to 1 high. So I have, if you will, I have the points here where it goes straight up and down, right there, straight up and down, and then it angles to the top left, where here it angles to the top left. Also, you can see here it angles to the top left. So from there, I just need to connect a line. I'm just typing the letter L for line and putting a line right there, moving it up to that corner there. So I have this front section there. Now this portion of the line listed here will be trimmed out, and that's not a problem. We can just leave that there for now. But I have that front face on this section here. Next, let's work on, let's see, I'll tell you what, let's work on this, just this flat surface. Next, let's work on this flat surface here. You can see it's flat, but it angles, it slants upward. And if we wanted to see how high it went upward, you can kind of see it here. It goes 1, 2. Too high, it lines up with that section. From here, same thing, 1, 2, it lines up with that section. So I'm going to put a reference line, just offset here. Offset. offset too high. Now if you notice, I think it's already there. Oh no, it's not. So from that base point, I'm going from here up 2, or from the backside up 2, and it gives me that line. So I know that this slanted surface starts at the bottom, which is right here, and it goes up 2 units. So it will end up, I push escape and I'm highlighting this line. It goes from there to there. Next I need to give my left to right side dimensions. Now from that corner right there, or this corner, or this corner, or this edge right here, it goes to the right 2 units. You see that? 1, 2. So from there, just offset 2 over to the right in that section there. Okay, next let's follow this base point right there. Now notice it's on the bottom there, and over here it's also on the bottom. See there, there, and there. What that means is this section of that line, which is right there, it's actually flat. It stays flat because it's on the bottom here, and it ends up being on the bottom there. So, I'm sorry, I'm in the offset command there. So I'm starting to carve this out. I'm going to hatch in. Remember, the hatch is a button that you, if you want to color in a section. If you want to color in a section here, you can color it in like this, this, and this. It's just for shading purposes, so you can visually see where something starts and ends. And then the next part, I'm going to take out that hatch now. The next part to focus on, I guess, is here. And if I hatch this in, I'm typing the letter H, pushing enter, hatch that in. That is the section the section we just went through, the slanted area there. Following that, let's take this part out. Let's work on this triangular piece that's there. Also up top, you can see that without the colored box in there. And what that is, it starts here where we left off before, and it goes upward towards the top. This is where it's a little bit tricky, but you need to sort of grasp in your mind that even though it's slanted on this angle and this angle, what it really is doing is it starts here and it goes up to the top. In other words, it's straight. It's a straight line, it goes upward to the top. And then it goes off to the left. Even though it's slanted here, it really is at the top of that 4 units tall, and it goes to the left, even though it's slanted there. So that's this line right here. So in summary, for that section, this area that I have highlighted, or this I've hatched in, that is the triangle. That's the triangle that's there, listed there. Okay, let's move on then. And again, these are things that will take sort of your brain a little while. If you haven't done this type of thing before, it takes a little while to grasp on there. Now let's go to this last segment here, this portion of the drawing, which is right there. Let's start with the base. You see this line here. Notice it starts out at the bottom. It ends up at the bottom. Same thing here. Starts at the bottom, ends at the bottom. So that means that this line here is demonstrated just with a flat line there. From that back corner, which is here, that back corner, it goes up 1, 2, but then it meets up with the top of the slanted one. In other words, it goes up 1, 2, then it angles up to the top of that slanted one. So I'm going to draw a line in there that connects that one there. Okay. Now this may seem very tedious, but look, these objects are intentionally made to be tedious so that you can practice. You can practice working on this. From that line there, that point where it meets right here, it runs along a diagonal back down to the bottom which is 2 units from that corner. So 2 units from this corner is where it ends. So it starts here and ends here. Okay. So just for the sake of seeing this, you don't have to clean up yet. You can do your trim later. But I'm going to trim out some of this. I'm going to push TR and start to trim away some of the parts. Right click here while I'm in the trim command and take out some of this so that you can see see what this object is supposed to look like. I'm taking this off. Oh, you know what? Excuse me. I think I made a mistake. It's supposed to start at this corner and go up that way. So let me quickly correct that error. Start at the bottom and go up 2 units there. Now I'm going to highlight this and say that one that I just highlighted, that was a mistake. That's supposed to be deleted. Then back to the trim command. I am cutting out sections and segments that should not be there. Just about done. One last one here. It won't trim, so I'm just deleting it. Highlight and delete. So you can see, I believe that's the completed version of the front view. So that's the completed version of the front. Let me go ahead and do the top here. I'm going to put a spacer, offset. I'm going to put 2, offset 2 upward, and then offset this way 2. Just for the sake, I'm going to go ahead and add the front, right, and top titles so I can put that in there. Hold on. Come on, what are you doing? Why are you so friggin' slow? There, I've added the front, right, and top labels, so it will make it easier for us. Also, this is a good point to remember to add your line from the imaginary corner. Do you remember the imaginary corner is the one that pokes out to you here. From here, it's harder to see, but after I draw on the box here, you can see that corner there. That point is represented right there, right there. And so from here, remember you take a line and push tab back and forth, put it to the degrees. In this case, it's 48. I want that to be 45, and I will push enter. So I have my reference line. This is the imaginary corner line there. It's important for future reference. Now let's work on the top. With the top, like we did with the front, I'm just going to take one segment at a time, one portion of this, and carve it out or shape it out as we go. Now I know that this from bottom, or this edge here to here, is 4 units. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to add 4 units, offset this line here, 4, go up. So that's 4 there. And in this case, I have that shape. It's got kind of a square and a triangle tagged onto it there. So I need to carve out that shape. If you count off numbers, 1, 2, it goes from the top section, it goes 2 down. So if I were to take this here and offset 2 down from this down like that, that gives me, let me get this sign out of there, that gives me the point where it changes direction from coming straight down to turning. So where it's coming straight down and it starts to turn in, that's what we want. That's this section there. And that turn that goes right there, we just draw with a line. So I've gone down 2, and then from here I go across there, right there. And so I'm going to hatch this in just so you can see that a little easier. Okay, I've typed H for hatch, and I am coloring in this section. That is what you see up top there and up top here. Next, I need to draw this triangle, and although this is the part where your brain has to sort of accept it. Although this looks, you know, at an odd angle here, when you look at where it starts and where it ends, it starts at the 2 points down, which is right there, and then it ends going all the way to the base, equal with this line. Excuse me there. Equal with this line. I need to set that again. So it starts at that 2 points down section, and then it goes equal with the bottom. So from here, it goes downward until it's equal with the bottom. And when it's at that point, equal with the bottom, it slants back up towards the corner. But keep in mind that this whole line runs actually about parallel, at least in direction of this, this left to right direction. It runs in the same direction as that. In other words, you can't see anything other than a line. So if I were to hatch this out, you would get something like this. That little triangle shown right there is what you see from that section there. So it may take a little while to sort of grasp that, but once you do this a few times, you might start to see it a little better. Or maybe just your head hurts, you get it done, and you just move on and not ever worry about that again. So let's go to this next part, the slant downward. You can see how we did it here, that slant downward. In this case, it's going all the way from the top section or the back, farthest back to the front, or from here to here. So it's a slanting, but it's flat, but it's slanting plane here. And that is all we need. In fact, this reference line, this middle part here, will be erased, at least in that section there. So that one's done already because we've done with the front view. Now let's go to the farthest side here. This corner, where it starts from there, that is, and that is right. Let me make sure I've got that right. Right here. Right here. And as you see, it goes along the back side of that box. In other words, it starts here and goes this way. So that line is already there. And then, as it gets to that point, there, it goes from that top right-hand side right there, and it sort of slants down to how many in from that corner? 1, 2. So it goes all the way to the top right corner, down, slants down to 2 to the left. I'm going to draw a line, just draw L to show where that is. That would be from here all the way down to there. Okay. Now I know this might be hard to see, so I'm going to go ahead and trim it out. Well, before I trim, I'm going to hatch that triangle. So that triangle that I just show here and hatch is this far side triangle from the top view. And just in case, I didn't show this earlier, but I'll do it just to be very thorough. If I hatch in this section here, that represents the slide, or the slant downward. Okay, so I'm going to start to trim out some of these areas. Remember, if you right click, you can trim one by one, or you can click and drag and it will take out whole sections. So in this case, I've taken out that whole part there. Now I'm going to finish trimming out this section here. Got that one there, goes out. I believe, well, these three go out. There, 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 and this one. I'm going to unhatch this part here. I think I mentioned if you're hatched in and you try and trim, this is a little side note, you try and trim out the line, it will only let you trim out little sections of it. You see that? And that's not what you want. You want to do more than that. So I'm going to undo that. Before you do trimming, you'll want to take out any hatches so that you can trim a little better. So trim, click, and get rid of this. Looks like it won't do it. Delete that out. Okay, I'm pretty close to getting this out. Just need a little bit more to trim out this, and then I need to erase this one because it's not overlapping something. So what you see there is the top view, and this is where you might think, oh, that looks kind of strange, but that is correct for the top view. If I were to continue partially trimming out this section here, there, and I don't want to take out too much because I still have to do my right side, but you get the idea here of how it looks. Erase this final piece there. So there's your top, there's your front. Now let's work on our right side here. You know it's 4 across, right? So you can just offset 4 across. So this object will be right here somewhere. And then I have this line. You know this line, remember, it goes along the base. Okay. From the right side, it goes up, but that's along the back wall. So it's just going up along here, and it goes too high. Then from that's too high point, it slants back down to the front. And excuse me, I just went over there. So from that section, what that means is you go from this too high point, slants back down to the front. Oh, but I don't have my reference yet. I don't know where it stops, and it's 2 over from the right. So what I need to do in this case is to offset 2 over from the right there, and then draw my line from that corner, which was right there, and it comes straight down that, and okay, from the bottom there corner up to just a minute. 6, 4, 5, So we take a line from that halfway point up, 2 units up, and we run it across the whole object down to the front there, because that corner right there, the bottom is right here, right there. Okay, so let's see if we can. We're just about done here, and I need to get back to. I'll get my visual there. All right, so I've carried out that first and hatched this out just to show you that first section there. That's the one triangle that's listed here. Now let's move on to the flat slanted piece there. So we have identified that section. This sliding point here, and I think I've lost. I need to bring back my. There we go. Huh. That is really weird. Where did he go? There. Oh, that's not it either. Okay, so I've drawn that line there. Now notice that this flat surface that angles down, when you're looking at the right side, you actually can't see it. It comes out, it shows up as just being that line because you're looking at it as the same angle that it's at. Well, it's just straight on. So you don't need to worry about that one. The next part is this little section there, and you know that this. Let's start from here. We're going to color this in or carve this in. Start from the top right, go down 2. The top right here is right there. Go down 2. Now you know this is 4 high, so if I were to go down 2, I would end up coming down to that point, right at that point. Okay, so if I go 2 down there, it goes down that way. That line is already there. That's the slanted line there. So that part is done. This upper section is straight and flat. This is straight and flat. After 2 units in, there it starts to angle down to where this point is, which is 1 unit up. It might be easier if you see it from this perspective. It's 1 unit up from the bottom, right there. So it comes down from the top down to 1 unit up, and that 1 unit up is right there. So what I'm getting at is if I draw a line from that point down to there, see how it starts at the middle top there, and then it goes down down to there. That is where it ends, and that is where this point ends too. So I'm going to go ahead and clean this up just to show you how this looks in the end. TR. Come on. Let's go, let's go, let's go. now it's time to trim these out. So I'm going to push TR for trim and right click and start taking out lines that are not needed for this drawing. Take out all of these ones here, and it's not going. Just going to clean it up quickly. And what do I have left in the end? Take out this one, this. So as you can see, I am slowly etching out this set of sections. Oops, got to go back into trim and take out these lines here. And then now I'm just finishing it up. What's left? Okay, so as you can see, I have the 3 front right tops here, the 3 sections of views of the object, and hopefully that helps. It was long and tedious to get through this, but I figured that if you're willing to take the time to listen, then you will gain some insights on here. Now let's move on to another drawing, another part of this. Okay, and now I have pulled up drawing number 45. Again, I have a crayon box, or a crayon drawn box around it, and then a normally drawn one here. Keep in mind here that with this drawing, we have these rounded edges, as you see here, and I'm going to show you how to draw them. So now I have here 2 sets of lines, or one that's joint here at a 90-degree angle. Right there, you can see that nice and close. The other one are 2 lines that don't quite join together, like what we had in the basketball court example. And with the fillet command, if you take this and you click on it, then it says to select the first object. We'll select the first object. So it will take that, and it's highlighted. And then it says select the second object, and you can click on that. And what it does is it fills it in and gives it a 90-degree angle. So that's the fillet command. However, there are some deeper actions that you can do within the fillet command. In this case, you can give it a rounded edge. But in order to do that, you need to push the Control 9 button, Control 9. Watch what happens to my screen. Up comes the command line. Now, on some of your screens, the command line will already be there, which is good. In my case, I took it off. I pushed the X here because it was getting in the way of my drawings when I was doing the screen. It asked me if I want to get rid of that, and I said yes. So I got rid of it, but now I'm going to bring it back. So again, the Control button and then F9 at the same time. Now, let's go through the same example. I'm going to undo what I did with my fillet command. Undo a little bit here and there. So we're back to where we were, and these commands will disappear after a while. So if I wanted to fill it again, but this time I want to give it a rounded edge. Watch the command line down below as I click on fillet. It changes. Now I'm in the fillet command. It says select the first object or undo, polyline, radius, trim, or multiple. What we're going to focus on is the radius part. So before I click on any of these lines, if I just click on radius, and then it asks the question, it says specify the fillet radius. Now radius is just like any other radius in a circle. So let's say I want this radius to be kind of like the radius of a circle. Now I want it to be at, I'm just going to put radius of 1 unit. Push enter. Now it has it listed as 1. It's saved. Specify fillet radius. Now if I click these 2 lines, 1 and 2, notice what it does. It gives a rounded edge. And if you were to complete this curve all the way around, you would have a circle which is 1 unit of radius, or 2 in diameter. So that's how the fillet works, but you can also take sharp edges and do the same thing. Or fillet here. Let's say select the first object. Well, first of all, I want to set my radius. Click on here, radius. And again, this is from the Control 9 button. It opens up the command line. Let's set my radius this time to 0.5, something really small. It's 0.5. I type that in. Push enter. Now it says select the first object, or the first line. So I'm going to click 1. Okay, there, 1. It's highlighted 1. And then I'm going to select this other one. See what kind of curve it gives me there. It gives me a curve of a 0.5 radius. So backing up, you can see it's a little bit tighter than the other one. Okay. So with that in mind, on the assignment, it says to use a make sure you have your 45-degree line. Round your tiny curved edges at a 0.25 radius. So keep that number in mind. Now let's go ahead and put this up. So let's draw this object here. Okay, back up, go to my other sections there. This is drawing number 45. First I'm going to do is highlight my front, top, and right labels. I'm going to go into my the copy section. I'm specifying a base point. I'm moving all of this over here. So I'm going to escape. Now this command line is getting in my way, so I'm going to get rid of it. Remember, it's just F9, Control 9. Control 9 brings it back. All right, so let's carve out this 45. First of all, you notice it's a 6 wide by 4 high, and I'll go much faster this time because this is easier to explain than the triangular one. So I'm going to offset 4, go 4 up, go not 4 but change it to 6, and push enter and then escape, and enter and move on. Then I'm going to put my spacer in here. Instead of 4, I'm going to put a spacer of 3 and also a spacer of 3. Now I'm just getting ahead of myself here, but just kind of hurrying things along because I know this is a long lecture. So you know that this first section is 2 in, 1, 2, and it's 1 high, 1 high. So I'm going to offset 2 in from there, and then offset, instead of 2, I'm going to change that to 1 there. So now I have created my first front section. I'm going to hatch it in just so I can point it out where it is. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, not 4, just 3. Get rid of that one. You're hatching it in 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's the 3 there. So that is that front section. Now here's a question that comes up a lot is, even though this is curved, how do you draw that in this upper section? It should be curved there. Well, the answer is you don't worry about it, because even though it curves, it ends on a point, it ends on being flush or level with the top. So what you see is just this corner, just like that, even though it is curved. And we don't have to worry about shading or anything like that on these drawings. These are just orthographic projections, or just two-dimensional views. Now, this front section shows it curved there. It's a rounded edge, and that would be rounded here. But I'm not going to do that just yet. I want to finish the straight line parts of the drawing. So here's my front, here's my spacer. Let's work on the top. Now you know the top is also 4 wide, so I'm going to offset 4. And I'm going to take off my F9 command, Control 9, so that I don't have to see that command thing. It's getting in my way. Now I have this upper section ready to go. This here resembles that there. Okay, so I have my spacer here. Let's go ahead and offset 4, a unit of 4. So I can go from here up. This area here is represented on that upper section, this upper section. But notice that although it starts on this edge, it goes in 1 unit there, and there. So what I need to do is show that on this screen by offsetting 1 from the top and 1 from the bottom. Okay, so to hatch in, I hatch in that and that. That gives me those 2 points. And then this middle section is what's listed down there inside of that center part. All right, so that's all we need for that section there. Let's work on this front. Notice how this whole area here is represented with the front, but there's a hole, and if you see that hole, you count where is that hole, how far from each edge. 1, 2, or from the other side, 1, 2. So I need some kind of reference to show where the middle or 2 units down is. I'm going to do that right now. 2 units from there down. How many in is it from each of the sides, or specifically this side? It would be 1. This one's a little harder to follow, but 1, 2. My best guess is it's 2, but let me look under here. 1, 2. Okay, maybe it's 3. 1, 2, 3. Yep, my guess is it's 3. So 3 and invert, that makes sense considering that this is 6 across. So back to my drawing, if I offset 3, and then go from that outer edge, from there to there, that is my best guess of where that hole is. Now, in this case, these drawings, you are, in some cases, with these circles, you're trying to figure out where it goes, what goes where. Now, that line, these 2 lines, excuse me, there and there, oh, the wrong one, this one and this one, that intersection point is where I'm going to put this circle. Now, for my best guess, that circle is 1 diameter unit long, or a radius of 0.5. So I'm going to add a circle, add it, center radius, go here, and then a radius of 0.5. That's my best guess of where it is. It might be a little further up front, but that's my guess of where it's at. Alright, so before I move on, I'm going to add a line where my imaginary corner is, right there. Remember, imaginary corner goes from the point where the box points out. I think my ortho's on, so we'll turn that off. 45. There. That's that. Now let's work on the front here, or excuse me, the right. And from the right, you can see that this is 1 unit tall, which is already marked right there. Oh, yeah, right there. It's 4 units wide, so which means I would need to offset 4, come here and go out 4. This is my spacer area, and this is where the object is going to be. And then I have this lower section in. That lower section is there. The upper section is what I need to work on, and that is shaped like a U. Now it starts out, it goes 1 in from the left, 1 in from the right, left and right. So here I'm just going to offset 1 that way and this way. So I have those 2 marker sections there, and then go 1 up from this point here. So I'm going to offset 1 up there. Now is the tricky part, and this is the cleanup. Now keep in mind, if you look closely, these are rounded edges here, just like these were from the front view. These are rounded edges, and so they will need to be filleted down, or to put a curve on, but I'm going to do that at the end. Right now I'm going to trim it out, so TR, and just start to trim away section by section. This is the spacer. I'm just going to trim everything. Now I'm going to jump out of trim for a minute, erase all of that, and this and this. Now we're back to trim, and we're cutting into this section here. 1, 2. Let's see, almost done with this one. This one is being a little bit stubborn, so I'm taking that one out. Let's keep going. This one here, taking in all of these. Let's see, I keep forgetting to right click out here. Now I should be able to get things done. Okay, just about done with that one. Just highlight that, and just a few more here. about, let's get that front one is done, except for the rounded edges. And now the top view. This one's also a little tricky. So take out that one. This one, all of these center ones around the circle. Of course, these delete. I think I'm just about there. So this is just about complete. Now let's go ahead and round the edges. This edge here gets rounded. And again, that one is done. I'm going to expand my screen by doing the fillet. Select the first object. Before I do, I'm pushing Control 9 and try that again, so that I can click on the fillet command, set a radius of 0.25, and it remembers that. Now it brings up all of these commands, which I'm going to just move to the side, zoom in and set my radiuses for here and here. See how that cuts it down, or angles it down. From this view here, I also want a radius there and there. Oops, I'm sorry, I need to re-ask for the radius to be done. Now let's try it. There, and then set the radius again, or fillet command, there and there. Okay, we are now complete with this set of commands. This is the completed version of what we have. Now this concludes the end of probably the longest lecture and explanation video that we will have for this course. So because Orthographic Lab 4 is so much there and so much that is required, before I ended this lecture, I decided to bring out a set of drawings that I had made from Orthographic 4, Ortho 4. And this is a close-up of some of the drawings, 37, 38, 39, listed here. You can see how they are put together, 40, 41, and 42. You can see that, and I just went in order and drew these out. Notice that the circles, the holes, how they're drawn. Here's 43 through 45. You can see how the curves on a lot of these. I'm zooming in this one, number 44. The curves are on the edges there where it's required. How that fits, how that works out, and 47. So this gives you a quick view of what we're looking for you to turn in, and hopefully this helps, and good luck.